Hello, I'm HomoArrosor. Welcome to this explainer. Today is August 3, 2026, and I need you to understand that the robot tutor economy is no longer just some distant roadmap or a white paper concept. It is literally one single login away from triggering a massive, undeniable shift in global human labor. We are right now looking at a fully materialized reality. In this explainer, we are going to meticulously unpack exactly how the final puzzle pieces, connecting 18 million verified humans, decentralized computing nodes, and raw robotic intelligence, have firmly and permanently snapped into place. I want to make one thing absolutely clear right from the start of our conversation today. The robot tutor economy is operating right now. The final puzzle piece is firmly in position. What we are witnessing is the active, undeniable integration of Axis Robotics and the Pi network. Together, they are forging a brand new human labor infrastructure. You know, there's been so much talk about humans being replaced by physical AI, but that is simply not the reality. We are being actively repositioned. We are becoming the essential teachers, the supervisors, and the correctors of these machines. The catalyst for this entire shift starts with some incredibly definitive news. Axis Robotics just secured a $12 million seed investment round. Now, this was led by HackVC, but there is a highly strategic key participant here that we need to focus on, Pi Core Team Ventures. The true significance of this isn't just the dollar amount, it is the specific target of this capital. Think about it. Pi did not invest in a company that just assembles metal robot arms. Absolutely not. They invested directly in the data systems that produce human behavior for robots to learn from. They literally funded the factory that mass produces the Internet of Behavior.
To really grasp why this is so revolutionary, we have to listen to the architect of this entire system. On August 2nd, 2026, Jianfei Yang, the co-principal investigator behind Axis, posed what I consider to be the defining question of our era. He asked, how can robot data scale like internet data? And how can it convert into continuously improving robot intelligence? Look, large language models exploded over the last few years because the internet was already overflowing with human text. It was just sitting there waiting to be scraped. But robots need physics. They need trajectories, joint states, exact grip pressure. That physical data simply didn't exist at any meaningful scale. Axis was engineered from the ground up to crowdsource that exact physical reality.
When you look back at my prior research on the technological timeline, this decentralized AI logic has been hiding in plain sight the entire time. Let's rewind a bit. Back in February 2026, the Pi node computing infrastructure and specific ports, like port 31402, were clearly established for AI tasks. Then by July 2026, we saw OpenMind fully emerge as the operating system for physical AI, with Fabric stepping in to provide the underlying payment layers. We had the brain, and we had the wallet. But there was always one glaring missing link. Who actually produces the raw behavioral data that OpenMind deploys? Well, as of August 2026, that missing link is definitively Axis Robotics. So, what does this look like in practice? The result is a strictly defined role division in the physical AI economy. Honestly, it's best to think of it as a highly specialized global digital assembly line. Axis sits right at the very beginning of this line. Their job is producing, verifying, and refining human behavior data. Next, OpenMind takes that trained intelligence and executes it through the physical robot's hardware. And then you have the Pi network. Pi is the absolute economic foundation of this entire operation. It supplies the verified human workers, the decentralized computing nodes to process the data, and the borderless wallets for payout. Every single entity completely dominates its specific layer. Let's zoom in on Axis for a second and really define what it is. By definition, Axis is a community-based robot data engine that directly connects human operation to robot learning. It is a purpose-built factory mass-producing this new Internet of Behavior. Before this, the biggest bottleneck in robotics was acquiring millions of precise physical demonstrations. You used to need millions of physical robots locked inside incredibly expensive laboratories to get this data. Axis shatters that bottleneck. It essentially digitizes your human physical intuition and instantly mints it into a highly valuable, tradable asset. And the way they achieve that massive scale is honestly brilliant. They do it through browser-based behavior data collection. You heard that right, a standard web browser. You do not need a $20,000 robotic arm. You don't even need a massive, power-hungry supercomputer to train these models. Axis runs a Muko WASM simulation entirely locally on your machine. That's essentially a highly accurate physics engine running right in your browser. You simply use your everyday keyboard, your mouse, or a standard gamepad to move a virtual robot. Behind the scenes, the system is meticulously recording your joint states, your grip metrics, and your success metadata. It turns your ordinary household PC into a high-value robot data production node. But the true evolution of your labor, the really valuable part, lies in the Human Intervention Protocol. Specifically, this is Access V2's human-gated dagger structure. Think of this process exactly like teaching a teenager how to drive a car. In the pre-stage, you demonstrate the perfect task from start to finish. In the training stage, the robot learns that baseline policy. But the post-stage is where everything changes. That is where you officially become the robot tutor. You literally just sit back and watch the AI perform the task on screen. You only grab the wheel and intervene when the robot starts to make a mistake. By doing this, you're supplying incredibly high-value correction data precisely at the edge of the AI's capability. Once your raw input is collected, it doesn't just go straight to the robot. It undergoes rigorous data validation and augmentation. Because let's be real, human hands shake, we hesitate, we make jerky movements. Axis automatically scrubs out all those jitters, stops, and corrupted data points, completely smoothing out the trajectories. Then, it takes your perfectly smoothed action and runs it through IsaacSim, a powerful virtual environment tool. It multiplies your single action into thousands of variations by changing the simulated camera angles and lighting conditions. This hyper-refined data is incredibly potent. When they applied this validated data to advanced vision language action models, like the Pi 0.5 model, it boosted absolute physical success rates by nearly 5 full percentage points. In robotics, a 4.9% boost is massive. Now, to make sure you get credit for this work, every single valid, verified human action is immortalized through an on-chain record system. The moment your behavior trajectory passes quality control, Access records your specific wallet address. It generates a unique data ID and a unique task ID, and it logs your specific quality score. Right now, this transaction hash is secured directly on the base chain. Why does this matter? Because it is an unchangeable proof of origin. It permanently proves exactly which human taught the robot a specific skill. It firmly anchors your digital property rights to the exact data you created. However, when we look at the current terms of service, it reveals a stark reality. We are currently sitting in an unfinished economy, running on a voluntary donation model. The current Axis terms of service stipulate a perpetual, free, worldwide license for AI training. Right now, it rewards users with points that hold zero cash value. The labor is very real, the data is very real, but the financial settlement layer is currently missing. To transition from a mere data collection platform into a completed, functioning robot economy, we absolutely require smart contracts that strictly enforce quality-based payouts and long-term data royalties. Axie built the technical engine, but right now they desperately need the economic engine. And this is exactly where the Pi network steps in and changes absolutely everything. 18 million plus. Let that number really sink in for a second. That is the unprecedented scale of Pi KYC verified individuals across the globe right now. Axis desperately needs a massive, Sybil-resistant workforce to scale this data engine to a global level. Pi already possesses the exact, battle-tested labor pool required to close this economic loop. 18 million verified, unique humans standing ready to step into the role of paid robot tutors. Let's move away from theory and translate this into real-world proof. I want you to look at my exact validation labor record inside the Pi KYC system. Notice the numbers right there in maximum zoom, 4,939 successfully validated approved validations out of 5,087 total attempts. This isn't just theoretical participation. I am a proven active worker within the Pi ecosystem. I have personally executed thousands of these microtasks based on strict quality consensus, and I have been compensated in actual Pi for providing this accurate, verifiable labor. Focusing on the detailed accuracy metrics here at maximum zoom, you can see a long-term consistency in meeting strict performance standards for majority consensus. This proven track record perfectly qualifies me and over 1 million other highly accurate Pi validators for Access's peer-reviewed data quality checks. You see, Access doesn't just need people to move virtual robots around on a screen. They urgently need trusted humans to review other humans' work and grade the robot's success. Pi has already built, trained, and battle-tested this exact human validation workforce. We are literally custom-built for this exact job. So how do we connect the two? Currently, if you go to the Axis Hub as of August 2026, there is a definitive gap. The login page offers your standard options: email, Google, X, and standard Web3 wallets. There is no Pi sign-in yet, but this missing Pi sign-in is the final button. Integrating that single Pi sign-in is the exact elegant solution required to securely link Pi's verified human workers directly to Access's robot tasks. It is the literal digital bridge connecting the world's greatest data factory directly to the world's largest verified global workforce.
When that button finally goes live, it brings the full, uncompromising power of two distinct tools, PyVerify and the Pi Wallet. For a global data platform like Axis, bots and duplicate accounts are absolute poison. They ruin AI training models. PyVerify guarantees human authenticity. It instantly blocks Sybil attacks and ensures pristine data integrity across the board. Simultaneously, the Pi Wallet ensures immediate, borderless compensation for that valid data. It guarantees absolute trust in the Axis pipeline, while simultaneously providing entirely frictionless cross-border payouts to workers regardless of where they live. But the beauty of this ecosystem is that it goes far beyond just human input via a mouse and keyboard. It completely leverages Pi's massive node computing infrastructure. Take my own Office Pi Note, for example. It currently sits at ranked 86 globally, holding a solid 98.35% uptime, and it's running a dedicated RTX 3050 GPU with 32 gigs of RAM. Pi Network's impending distributed computing apps are designed precisely for the top 100 nodes, exactly like mine. These nodes are perfectly primed and ready to process the massive computational load of Access, handling the incredibly complex vision language model quality checks and all the heavy data preprocessing right alongside the human tutors. Based on these definitive architectural facts, the impending limited beta rollout is going to follow a highly structured strategic sequence. Phase 1 will initiate Pi-exclusive Axis alliance tasks, testing the waters. Phase 2 will deliver that critical Pi sign-in integration we just talked about. Phase 3 completely locks the system down, implementing strict KYC and Pi-verify gating, so absolutely only proven humans can enter the workforce. Finally, Phase 4 establishes the role division. The system will allocate you as a demonstrator, a peer reviewer, or a node computing verifier, based purely on your proven historical metrics and reliability on the network. All of this brings us to the definitive reality of the robot tutor. This is a fundamentally new class of worker. I want to stress this again. You are not being replaced by physical AI. You are the one who trains it. You are the one who corrects it. And you are the one who verifies its behavior. Just as the early internet relied entirely on humans to write text to train today's large language models, the physical AI era absolutely relies on human tutors to digitize physical actions. Your physical labor is right now evolving into a highly valuable, recurring digital asset creation role. And the financial loop of this new economy is permanently closed through A2A payment, the true machine economy. It flows like this. A major enterprise orders a specific robot behavior for their assembly line. Humans on Axis generate and meticulously correct the training data for that behavior. OpenMind then deploys that perfectly learned policy down to the physical robot on the factory floor. Finally, Fabric and RoboPay step in to enable the pay-to-actuate model. This is where machines literally pay machines for services rendered. The revenue generated by the working robot on the factory floor flows directly, seamlessly, and continuously back to the human data creators and the node operators who originally taught it how to move. So, as we wrap up, I leave you with this final, undeniable reality. Think about everything we've covered today. When absolute human verification, highly refined robot behavior data, and massive global decentralized computing infrastructure perfectly align, what does the completed robot economy actually look like? It looks exactly like the system we have just mapped out. The data factory is running, the global workforce is verified and standing by. The robot tutor economy is not some abstract concept reserved for the 2030s. It is here today in August 2026, and it is just one login away from changing human labor forever. Thank you for joining me on this explainer. Keep observing, stay ready, and I'll see you in the next one.